So I hope you can see this clearly. I'm going to chant number 3. Dvaipayanaran avaro mahitve tasya dehajaha sarvatmana shritaha Kṛṣṇam tatparam chakti anuvrataha. Vidura was born from the body of Vedavyāsa and was not less than he. Thus he accepted the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa wholeheartedly and was attached to his devotees. Short purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. The history of Vidura is that he was born of a Sudra mother, but his seminal father was Vyasadeva. Thus he was not less than Vyasadeva in any respect, since he was born of a great father who was supposed to be an incarnation of Narayan and who composed all the Vedic literatures. Vidura was also a great personality. He accepted Kṛṣṇa as his worshipable Lord and followed his instructions wholeheartedly. So we're talking about Vidura here, and what a great personality he is, because he was born from this great personality, Vyasadeva, who was, as mentioned, an incarnation of Narayan. He came, and he's the one, as we know, who wrote all the Vedic literatures or narrated the Vedic literatures so that for our benefit. And we also know he's the father of the great personality, Sukadeva Goswami. And talk about traveling and being renounced. Who could be more renounced than him? Completely clothed just with the air and completely renounced from everything. He traveled about. And finally we know by his mercy we're narrating today the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. So what a great personality Vyasadeva is, and his offspring, like we're reading today about Vidura. So we see today in this age, people are trying to get satiated and satisfied. And trying so many different things. We're wandering, trying to acquire so many things. We're looking for a taste. We're looking for a rasa, actually. The soul by nature is pleasure seeking. So we're trying to find pleasure. So in the mature world, we get some satiation for a little while, but there's no satisfaction. You see, dissatisfaction and addiction is what happens. But with the spiritual literatures that we get from Srila Vyasadeva and hearing the topics of Vidura, we get satisfaction, but no satiation, because it's so nectar that we could go on and on and on without satiation, and we get completely satisfied by hearing these transcendental literatures, because they relate to Lord Kṛṣṇa. And that's where Śrīmad Bhagavatam is. It is actually the abode of all rasas, rasamalayam. So this is how we can get a taste, a higher taste, and get rid of this lower taste, these attachments that we have today. So that's the third verse. Translation. Vidura was purified of all passion by wandering in sacred places, and at last he reached Hardwar, where he met the great sage who knew the science of spiritual life. And he inquired from him. Śaunaka Ṛṣi therefore asked, what more did Vidura inquire from Maitreya? Report by Srila Prabhupada. Here the words Virajas Tirtha Sevaya refer to Vidura, who was completely cleansed of all contamination by traveling to places of pilgrimage. In India, there are hundreds of sacred places of pilgrimage, of which Prayag, Hardwar, Vrindavan, and Rameshwaram are considered principal. After leaving his home, which was full of politics and diplomacy, Vidura wanted to purify himself by traveling to all the sacred places, which are so situated that anyone who goes there automatically becomes purified. This is especially true in Vrindavan. Any person may go there, and even if he is sinful, he will at once contact an atmosphere of spiritual life and will automatically chant the names of Kṛṣṇa and Radha that we have actually seen and experienced. It is recommended in the Shastras that after retiring from active life and accepting the vanaprastha, retired order, one should travel everywhere to places of pilgrimage in order to purify himself. Vidura completely discharged this duty, and at last he reached Kushavarta, or Hardwar, where the sage Maitreya was sitting. So we see here Maitreya, we see in the image on the left that he actually was fed up with the politics of the kingdom. So he actually was, because of it, he was trying to give good advice, he was thrown out, and he left for pilgrimage. And so he did that because he was thinking, we just heard about what a great soul Maitreya was, the son of Vyasadeva, pure soul. Why would he think, how could he be contaminated? Why does he have to go? But because he's thinking he was in contact, in association, in an atmosphere, politics and material life and the kingdom and all this, he felt himself contaminated. So he wanted to purify himself. So he went to the holy places to give a good example. And we see here, after he left, he met the sage Maitreya, and he very submissively and attentively heard from him. And there's a nice verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which reminded me of this. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. So we have to go to that place, and where there is no return. But before that, we have to uproot our detachments from this material world. And we see this traveling, like when we go to holy places, that's one of the things that helps us do, is to renounce, because then we have to travel. When you travel, you have to pack lightly. You can't take all your paraphernalia, all your household items. So you're actually starting to practice renunciation. And then you're practicing tolerance, because you have to accept, the situation that you're in. It may be inconvenient, it may be austere. So these are to teach us that this material world is not our home. We're just travelers. We're just passing through. So it's good to travel, go to these holy places. Prabhupada recommended it. So he went to these places, Kushavarta. He went to all these different places. So this is what he was thinking, that he was so full of politics and diplomacy that he wanted to purify himself by traveling to these sacred places. So he just renounced everything. His bow, everything just came. So we'll continue with the purport. Another significant point is that one must go to sacred places not only to take bath there, but to search out great sages like Maitreya and take instructions from them. If one does not do so, his traveling to places of pilgrimage is simply a waste of time. Narottama Das Thakur, a great acharya of the Vaishnava sect, has, for the present, forbidden us to go to such places of pilgrimage, because in this age, the times having so changed, a sincere person may have a different impression on seeing the behavior of the present residents of the pilgrimage sites. He has recommended that instead of taking the trouble to travel to such places, one should concentrate his mind on Govinda, and that will help him. Of course, to concentrate one's mind on Govinda in any place is a path meant for those who are most spiritually advanced, and not for ordinary persons. Ordinary persons may still derive benefit from traveling to holy places like Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, and Hardwar. So we see here, it's interesting, Srila Prabhupada saying that, if we go to these holy places, nowadays you go there and you see so many materialistic things happening even from the residents that live there. And we may see the places and they look not very nice. And then we may think, get a bad impression. So Prabhu said it's not, it's better not to go. So I remember one devotee was telling me that he went up to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I want to go to India. And Prabhupada said, why do you want to go to India? Just stay here. Just serve the deities. Just get the temple. India's here. I brought India. So, and also Prabhupada recommended that we should go, and then some people he recommended we shouldn't go. So, Prabhupada has different instructions for different devotees, just like in his letters, Actually, Srila Prabhupada, I heard that he didn't want his letters massively distributed to everybody. But anyway, you see the letters, he gives some advice to different devotees, and he'll give the opposite advice to different other devotees. So anyway, Srila Prabhupada, time, place, and circumstance, and person, he knows how to engage the devotees. So let's go on a little tour to some of these holy places. We see a holy place now. This is where Srila Prabhupada was. In Vrindavan, that's where he slept. It's his room. We see the holy temples. In many places you can go. And we have Mayapur, it's a very holy place. It's in the beginning times when Srila Prabhupada first came. And it says we could see some of the buildings in the holy Dham are dilapidated. It doesn't look very pleasing to the eye. And, as neophytes, we may think, oh, what is this place? And there's many holy artifacts. They're also in different places. We can go there. We may think, oh, they're not so well kept. And still, there's also holy places, samadhis, different devotees are, where we can see where they perform their bhajans, go and get their blessings. You may see different deities, different images of Kṛṣṇa. You may think, what is this? Why is it so not so nice, or not understand it? And go to the places where Kṛṣṇa actually was held. I think that's his prison house. And we see Srila Prabhupada, he has started ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So he traveled the world. Srila Prabhupada was a traveler also. He traveled the world. And wherever he went, he was giving the messages of Kṛṣṇa. And he was establishing temples, which is very nice. Establishing deities, devotional service, worship of Kṛṣṇa. You see, this is the essence, is to develop that devotional service. He established festivals, Rath Yatras, which we're having one today, and you guys are having one today also, at the Martin Luther King Parade, which here in LA, it'll be televised. There's millions of people to come. And so it's very nice. Whenever we come through, they say, here's the very colorful, the most colorful group here, an ecstatic group. So here we see, this is the activities that are happening. Srila Prabhupada has given us a taste of what it's like in the spiritual world, where we be able to serve the deities. We serve Kṛṣṇa, worship, we do performing devotional service to Kṛṣṇa. Every walk is a gate, every walk is like dancing. Every word is like a song. Speaking is like singing. So this is a holy place. So we're going to continue with the purport again. It is recommended in this verse that one find a person who knows the science of God, or a tattvavit. Tattvavit means one who knows the absolute truth. Let me just pause for a minute here. Just leave it here. I'm giving class right now, okay? I'm giving class. Just stay there. Okay, thank you. Push that. I gotta go.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Okay. All right, sorry about that. Someone came and dropped off some goodies. All right, so let's continue the purport. It is recommended in this verse that one find a person who knows the science of God, or a tattvavit. Tattvavit means one who knows the absolute truth. There are many pseudo-transcendentalists, even at places of pilgrimage. Such men are always present, and one has to be intelligent enough to find the actual person to be consulted. Then one's attempt to progress by traveling to different holy places will be successful. One has to be freed from all contamination, and at the same time, he has to find a person who knows the science of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa helps a sincere person, as stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Guru Kṛṣṇa Prasāde. By the mercy of the spiritual master and Kṛṣṇa, one attains the path of salvation, devotional service. If one sincerely searches for spiritual salvation, then Kṛṣṇa, being situated in everyone's heart, gives him the intelligence to find a suitable spiritual master. By the grace of a spiritual master like Maitreya, one gets the proper instruction and advances in his spiritual life. So nice we see here that even great souls, as we're reading about Vyasadeva, even he became despondent, and with the help of his spiritual master, Narada Muni, he actually approached him very submissively and attentively and served him and took instruction from him. There's examples, even great souls taking shelter for us. Who are we to not be able to take shelter? So here he's getting enlightened by Narada Muni, explaining to him the importance of devotional service. All the Vedas that he wrote are under the different modes of material nature, pious and impious activities for different people in the different modes of nature. But the most important thing is explaining to him is that we have to hear and chant about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to always remember him and never forget him. That's the essence of our advice. Because actually, what are we doing? We're actually, every day we're forgetting or we're remembering. But what are we forgetting? What are we remembering? The main thing is we should never forget Kṛṣṇa and always remember Kṛṣṇa. So that's the point. So all these other distractions in the material world, they actually help us forget Kṛṣṇa. So we want to deliberately engage ourselves in devotional service so that we can remember Kṛṣṇa. Just like now we finished the pastime of Lord War. Wonderful pastime of Kṛṣṇa coming and displaying himself. His wonderful, amazing activities. And just by hearing these activities, repeating these activities, we become purified. It's like we're on a holy pilgrimage. And we actually will be able to attain rasa, taste, spiritual pleasure. And that's what we're looking for. So this is the pastime we were just finished. And now they're asking here, what's next? Vidura is asking. And the sages in Amarashranya are asking, so what happens next? And we're going to find out what's next is that it's going to describe creation again. We've already heard creation being described a couple more times. So this will be the third time creation is going to be described. And then again it's going to be described in this, in these first few cantos when Kapila Muni describes it to his mother, Devahuti. So it must be very important. At least as far as we're at now to the third canto, it's being described 4 times, creation. So this is what Kṛṣṇa comes. He comes to describe to us who we are, what is nature, what is the Supreme Personality, what are our activities, and the time factor. So all these things are described. And this is the whole purpose Kṛṣṇa comes, like in Bhagavad Gita. These are the 5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita. We got Purusha, Prakriti, the Jiva, time, and karma. So these are activities that we should understand. So as we should understand this universe, because we're traveling throughout this universe. We're actually going from different planets, depending on our different desires. We're actually the spiritual spark. We have nothing to do with this material world. We have no reason to be here. But why? Because we have forgotten Kṛṣṇa. And there's a nice quote from the Bhagavad Gita, purport in the 17th chapter, which is very nice. Where it says, now the real fact is that every living being, as is stated in the 15th chapter, is originally a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one is originally transcendental to all the modes of material nature. But when one forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and comes in contact with the material nature and conditioned life, he generates his own position by association with the different varieties of material nature. The resultant artificial faith and existence are only material. Although one may be conducted by some impression or some conception of life, originally he is nirguna or transcendental. Therefore, one has to become cleansed of the material contamination that he has acquired in order to regain his relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is the only path back without fear, Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So here again, we're traveling and we're on a path. So what is our path now? Is our path, trying to enjoy the different varieties of material nature? And Prabhu mentions here in the purport that it's artificial, it's material, it's temporary, it doesn't satisfy. You may get some satisfaction, maybe a little satiation, from the burning sensation or whatever, but there's no satisfaction in the material world. So this is our plight, traveling. So now we come and we land in a particular place, which we call our holy place. Maybe we have a place on the beach, we have a boat on the beach, and we think we're here to have a great time. This is our desire. We're looking for that rasa, that rasayam. And we're thinking we could find it in the material energy. But as we see, trying to have a great time in a place where we're not even from is like the fish trying to enjoy out of water. No matter what you give the fish to try to enjoy, it will not bring any satisfaction. It may have a little satiation. Maybe the smoke in his mouth there, would have give him a little bit of forgetfulness of his suffering condition, or his drinking a cold beer there might buzz him a little bit or get him high or whatever he eats or whatever he gains. And it's just temporary. It's so flickering, and it will bring no satisfaction. So here's another quote from the 15th chapter, purport. Srila Prabhupada says, while one is performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees in full Kṛṣṇa consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanquished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. Thus one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature. He becomes attached to matter and the possessions of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of heart. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart. So we see that this is like a banyan tree. It's described in those verses, how one is entangled, but one should do it through detachment. And this is what the going to holy places and traveling, it helps us develop this detachment and get rid of this weakness of heart, which is increasing for our propensity to lord it over material nature and become attached to it. Even though it doesn't bring any satisfaction, it's amazing how we become attached to it. So it's very interesting. So there's a nice quote here I found. May Lord Madhava's pastimes, which bring the sense pleasure stronger than that experienced by the hedonists, a liberation more real than that felt by the yogis in their hearts, and a bliss more intense than that tasted by the most expert drinkers of nectar, protect you. So this is the nectar of Lord Madhava's pastimes. Where are they described? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence or the abode of all rasas, the Rasamalayam. This is from the Padyavali. And this quote was from Sri Shankar. So this is, we could get a higher taste. So this is what we're very fortunate to have, the Srimad Bhagavatam. So as we can see here, it's describing how we should go to holy places, take bath, and become purified. This is the process. So we can see many pilgrims do that even today, going to holy places, becoming purified, renouncing. They renounce everything practically, renouncing all their clothes practically to come and just bathe and become purified from all the material contamination that we have, all of our attachments, the weakness of heart. That heart has become weakened and is trying to love matter. It's trying to love reflection. Just like here you see the watermark reflector too. We're just so attracted to reflectors. And you can see that shows the iPhone and the iPad. People are just trying to get some pleasure out of this, 3 or 4 inch screen, or the iPad maybe like a 7-8 inch screen, or maybe you're a big iMac, which this is being displayed on, which I'm sharing, or your big huge TV screen. We're all trying to be attracted to some reflection, some illusion, something that's not even real. And how can you get satisfaction? How can you get rasa? How can you get taste with the reflection? You see, it's like trying to enjoy a film. You go to and actually people are addicted to the film. They go to film watching nowadays, and all it is, you sit there and you forget that actually there's a projector behind you and it's just projecting light, and there's some film with pictures taken, and there's each little screen, each little shot frame is going so fast it looks like people are moving, and they're enacting all these different rasas that we experience. There's 12 different rasas that we can have tastes for, and then sub-rasas like ghastliness and, all kinds of different rasas. So we become addicted to these tastes. We're looking for these tastes, but you're trying to find it in a reflection. Isn't it better to try to find it in reality? Or we see even great yogis, they're performing such a hard austerities, to travel to other places. There's so many different ways to travel. You can perform austerities for thousands of years, and then eventually what he realizes that I'm a spirit spark, and he can send that spark to wherever he wants to go, material, spiritual world. There's processes for this. Prabhupada wrote a whole book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. But what is that easy journey? This doesn't look easy. So, yeah, it's definitely not easy. But as mentioned, we can see Srila Prabhupada, the pastime where Prabhupada would come and listen to Bhaktisiddhanta speak, and a lot of these other godbrothers and the disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would go to holy places. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta actually got upset and said, "Where's everybody? It's better that they come here and listen than go to holy places." So this is actually a holy place. And there's another nice quote from the Padyavali, very wonderful verse. Taitraiva Ganga Jamuna Chatatra Godavari Tatra Saraswati Cha Sarvani Tirtani Vasanti Tatra Yatra Chittadora Katapasanga. The Ganges, Jamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, as well as all holy places of pilgrimage, stay where the exalted topics of the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead are narrated. So that was author unknown, but it's from the Padyavali. So it's a very wonderful verse. So Srila Prabhupada, he loved to hear, so therefore he actually became qualified as a speaker and instructor and leader, because he liked to hear. He was blessed by his spiritual master, so that he can actually become a spiritual master and lead the world. Srila Prabhupada was a leader, and he had a mission. It was a very nice Sunday lecture given by this devotee from Pune. His name is Val Govind. And he was talking about the 7 purposes of the Sunday feast, and how he was going through all the different purposes, how we should know these purposes. And the purposes Prabhupada wanted to bring us together as a community to develop a spiritual atmosphere, not a political atmosphere, not a, like an atmosphere that Vidura was in, that he had to leave, eventually got kicked out of. But he wanted to make a loving spiritual atmosphere that we can become attracted to. And anyone who comes in contact will not want to leave because they experience those rasas, those tastes that one gains in spiritual association. And this is what Srimad Bhagavatam gives. So there's another nice verse from the Pajapali. I was inspired to read some of these from the talk he gave. So here's one he actually quoted. Aho virna kaler viduyate sadhu sudara maduram pade pade dine dine chadana chandrasitalam yaso yasoda tanayashagiyate. One who daily sings the glories of Yasoda's son, Kṛṣṇa, which are cooling as sandalwood and camphor, is not troubled by the days of Kali Yuga. For him, at every step, there is a torrential flood of the sweetest nectar. So that's nice. Actually, we're reading from the 10th canto about Yasoda and Krishna's pastimes. Right now, we're reading about Kṛṣṇa, who actually broke the pot of butter that would turn butter because he wanted to be nursed by his mother, but because the pot was overflowing of milk, Mother Yasoda put Kṛṣṇa down. Actually, this is interesting how Kṛṣṇa was holding on so tight to Mother Yasoda that he wanted to nurse, to get the milk to become fully satisfied. So if Kṛṣṇa grabs onto somebody, who can push Kṛṣṇa away? But Mother Yasoda's love was so concerned about everything related to Kṛṣṇa, even the milk and the pot and so many things. Actually, in the spiritual world, everything is conscious. But even the milk was concerned. Why is Kṛṣṇa ignoring me? I want to get Kṛṣṇa. So he decided to just commit suicide. So he overflowed. So actually, Mother Yasoda was very concerned about that. So she came and tried to, calm down milk from overflowing. But Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was holding on so tight that Mother Yasoda actually put him down because of her love. She was actually able to control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Mayavadis want to become God. Prabhupada says, why become God? We want to become greater than God. We want to control God. And this is the rasa that we taste. Kṛṣṇa comes to taste the sweet nectar. So this is what we get if we just sing the glories of Yasoda's son, Kṛṣṇa. And we're hearing about Kṛṣṇa's activities now, his creation, his different incarnations, his devotees. They're all related. Everything is related to Kṛṣṇa. Even in this Kali Yuga, there's so many troubled days. Everybody's trying to get satisfaction. Everybody's trying to get relief. They're so distracted. And they're trying to get a taste from so many reflections. But they can get the real taste, the sweetest nectar, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is Srila Prabhupada. So talking about these big ships, Srila Prabhupada actually, they were walking with his disciples, so they're going on a walk, and Srila Prabhupada asked, they saw this scene. There was a small tugboat pushing this huge ship. Prabhupada asked, what is the lesson here? And devotees were scratching their head. They're wondering, what is they didn't know what to say about this. What is this? And what's the Bhaktivedanta purport here? So Prabhupada said, what is happening here? Why is this small little boat able to pull this huge ship? I said, why? It's because the huge ship turned off its engines, so therefore was able to be pulled very easily. So the analogy is like the body is like a ship, and within this body there is the soul, the spiritual energy, the spiritual nature, the spiritual person, which is being turned off. We're actually ignoring it. And we're becoming so attached to material things that we can easily be pulled by reflections, by so many gadgets and so many illusory things of this material world. So this is a very, very important lesson by Srila Prabhupada. So here we are. This is the embassy that you have to go through when you go travel to different countries. There's a place where they check you, and they see, like they check your visa, they check your, the immigration department. You have to go there, and they have to see if you're going to come to another country. You have to go through there, and they question you. But there's a nice verse first. We'll go here and say, Nirmana Mohajita Sangha Dosha, Aryatma Nitya Vitta Kamaha, Dandvar Vimukta Sukha Sangar, Gachati Amuram Padam Avayantat. Those are free from false prestige, illusion, false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So this is the qualifications of how we can get to the eternal kingdom. So just like when we go through immigration, they're going to ask you 3 questions. Have you any criminal record? Because, they want to see if you're a criminal. They don't want any criminals in their country, people that are going to cause disturbance. And how much money do you have? They don't want people just like, beggars and poverty-stricken people to come to their country. Why? And then they ask you, what is your purpose? What do you want here? What are you going to do? What are you going to do here? So they want to know, why are you coming? So this is important. So similar, we saw the immigration department to the spiritual world, coming from the material world on the steps there. So if you have the first one, do you have any criminal records? Are you free from sinful activities? Are you breaking the 4 regulated principles? You see, so then if you are, then you can board this plane to go to another world, to another country. So as you board the plane, you can go there. So you have to be free from sinful activities. You have to be pure. And we're reading about the activities that Vidura went through to become pure, and all great saintly persons have done to become pure. Then the next question is, do you have any money? So in order to penetrate this atmosphere, you need to have some pious credits, some pious activities. This is your wealth. The only wealth at the time of death is your spiritual credits, spiritual pious activities. So this is what gives you that potency, that power to penetrate this material world and go into the other world. And then when you go there with the purpose of, even if you penetrate there, you have to have the good purpose. And what is that purpose? Is that attentive, submissive, devotional service. That's what you're going to do there. It's not that you're going to go to the spiritual world and say, hey, do you want to help make some gardens for Kṛṣṇa? The gopis come and say, oh no, I'm just fed up with, I just want to take a break. I'm just so fed up with the material world and, being, terrible body and terrible people, terrible atmosphere. I just want to hear and relax, enjoy the atmosphere. No, we have to actually engage in Krishna service. That's the whole purpose of going there. That's where the real taste is. That's where the real pleasure is. So this is a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes this very nicely. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavat Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. So your heart has to become strong, free from the weaknesses. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion. So we understand the whole purpose of this material world. We understand what is nature, what is time. So the highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity. So his maturity after he got instructions from his spiritual master, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of the Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So it's right in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is very important, this attentiveness and submissiveness. you can see, and it relates to everything that we do practically. We know that we should be very attentive in our dealings with devotees, and this is the whole 10 offenses are basically all due to this inattention or unsubmissiveness. Like, blaspheming devotees, it might be like being unsubmissive to them, not wanting to follow restrictions, or being inattentive in our dealings and with Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. And even the 10th offense is to, chant Hare Krishna without attention, you see. So this is all we need to do. We have to become attentive and submissive to these messages of the Bhagavatam that are given to us by the great souls. So there's one last quote here from the Nectar Instruction. So the essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Braja, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and serve Kṛṣṇa under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. So this is the essence of all advice here, is that we should 24 hours a day, not just forgetting. We have this problem of remembering and forgetting. So we should always remember Krishna some or another by chanting, engaging in his service, remembering his forms, serving, engaging our tongue, we take a taste of nice prasadam, and chanting the holy names, engaging our mind and thinking how to best serve Krishna. In this way, we're trying to understand. We engage the mind, understanding the 7 purposes of ISKCON, who we are a member of. And that way, Srila Prabhupada has created all these holy dhams all over the world. He has created dhams where we can get guidance of devotees and we can follow in their footsteps because they have this attachment to devotional service. They have this taste. They have this rasa, and they can give it to you. So this is our whole process of Krishna consciousness. So it's nice. It would be nice to go through the 7 purposes that Prabhupada established, to keep that in the forefront, to realize our whole purposes. Because we don't know where we're going, what we're doing, and what's the point. A leader knows where he's going. He knows how to direct people. He's completely clear in his mind where he's going. So this was Srila Prabhupada. He had a complete, clear vision of where to go. So this is the end of this particular verse. So I'll stop now, and you can open up for questions or comments. And okay. If you like, I could, since I'm sharing my iPad, after we answer the questions, we could show you the Bhagavad Gita interactive that I made. You can see a much better experience through the iPad.
So, you said correctly 2 contradictory things in your talk, and I said correctly, because sometimes Prabhupada does that. He gives us one instruction, and then he kind of gives us an opposite instruction, and I want to know how we accommodate that. Specifically, I'm referring to when he speaks of holy places, he stresses the importance of going to holy places.
Yeah.
And taking the association of the advanced devotees there, not wasting our time to simply take a bath.
Right.
But at the same time, you also mentioned where Prabhupada said, no need to go to India. No need. Our temples are holy places. There are very saintly persons there. The deity is there, etc. So how do we understand these 2 together and make sense of that?
It's funny how Prabhupada in the purport, he gives it to us. We should go to these holy places. Then he takes it away. And then you shouldn't go. And then he gives it back again. He says, no, you can go. Prabhupada is, And he's bringing the point, too, that, wherever you are, you take up devotional service. It's a holy place. We just pick up Bhagavad Gita, start reading, you could create a spiritual atmosphere. So if it's going to cause a lot of anxiety, or if, we ourselves think that I'm going to India and I get disturbed because of so many, inconveniences or people or, dacoits and thieves and so many things going on there, it just gives me a bad impression of India. Maybe I shouldn't go, just stay and serve here. And some devotees actually go. They don't like India. They just rather serve in their own place where they preach.
Mm.
But Srila Prabhupada recommended it, both. So yeah, up to you.
Couldn't you also say that the main feature of both of them was the association of devotees, to hear?
Yeah, definitely.
And wherever that is, that's a tirtha in itself, which was, of course, the invitation of Vidura, wasn't it? Wherever he was a tirtha.
Yeah, as we showed with Prabhupada, was listening to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and that quote was so nice. How, the Ganges, all these holy places are where exalted topics of the infallible Supreme Personality of God are being narrated. And who they narrated by? Narrated by the pure devotees. So this is the whole process. Yeah.
Hardwar?
Yes.
In the purport, Prabhupada says this, and this conflict that we run into contradictory things.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's different stages. The devotees are at different stages.
Yeah.
And so one devotee may get one instruction, another devotee may get another one. So in the purport it says one has to be intelligent.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
To find the actual person to be consulted, then progress by traveling different holy places. Somebody has to be at a certain stage where they can understand who's the real sadhu and who's the cheater.
Yep. There you go.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada did. He would rather go listen to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj than, he knew the purpose of these places. That's where the holy people reside. Yeah, it's super advanced. And Kṛṣṇa gave him intelligence. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, the reality is, there is no, I guess the point I'm trying to bring out, and I think Vedanta touched on that, is that there is no conflict, really.
Yeah.
They're both true. And they're both true. And whatever is best for us is the best. And what may be the best now may be different later as we evolve in our spiritual lives and situations change. But they're both true.
Yeah.
That's it.
And there is no conflict.
One aspect, too, is to associate. Like we know the famous Eva Gokara verse. It says that if you don't associate, so that's also a whole another topic, proper association, how to hear properly. That's when it really is a tirtha, is when one can hear properly by the association. Because even if you hear improperly, it's maybe some agyata sakriti, but the main thing is the proper way to associate. And that quality that stays, with the spiritual master, that's practically the whole substance of the quality of our devotional service.
Yep. All the footsteps of the devotees. Yeah, very important. Thank you. Yeah, that was just one nice quote. Nectar instruction. Yeah. It's so nice how we can get engaged in, even though we're in Kali Yuga, how simply taking shelter of these transcendental literatures, the heat of Kali Yuga is it feels like camphor on the body with moonshine by hearing the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa and Mother Yasoda. Nice. So, thank you. Nice.
Well, that always reminds me of that verse that Prabhupada gave a wonderful purport on, that 1:344 verse on. I heard this with rapt attention, and in the purport, Prabhupada says, no one can give rapt attention who's not pure. No one can be pure in mind. He's not pure in action, eating, sleeping, mating, and you see the whole regulated principles, the whole sadhana is put together based on how you can hear. If you follow all the principles, is to enable proper hearing.
Yeah, you got any criminal record?
Yeah, that's a good point. I could say one thing that great benefit I got the first time I went to India that you couldn't have gotten here, that was very helpful to me, and that was, and this is, I'm going back, well, 30, well, close to 40 years ago. Yeah, maybe it was, 74. So anyway, it was the fact that all we saw, at least at that point, was our little ISKCON temples. It was we kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, and there was just a handful of devotees, especially then, and we were so much of a counterculture from the rest of society. But when I went to India, and you walk around in a dhoti, it's like it's almost, especially 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, almost 40 years ago, it was, when you went to India, it's like everybody knows Kṛṣṇa, everybody knows devotees, everything, the culture is very much sort of consistent or parallel to spirituality. Even the music that you had heard back then, I guess there was, the word Bollywood wasn't around then, but in the villages, sometimes they have a sound system, and you could hear them playing bhajans, and it was just so wonderful to see. Again, and back then there was no old people other than Prabhupada. We were just a bunch of young kids. And you go to India and you see all these sadhus, these older sadhus and older people that are so absorbed in spiritual life and so respectful and appreciative of devotees. Anyway, that was really helpful to me. Now, I don't know what it's like now, because again, I haven't been there in 30 years. I've heard it's a whole different culture now, a whole different generation. In 30 years, the generation has completely changed. So I've heard things are quite different. But at least when I went, that was really helpful to me to see it wasn't just a couple of little Kṛṣṇa temples down in our places in the little cellar of a church, or some place in Coconut Grove, and we were just a real oddity. You're not an oddity in India.
Yeah. It was in the 80s, I think, the last time I was there. So I'm sure a lot of changes.
Yeah, people have told me you won't recognize it. I remember walking through the Raman Reti in Vrindavan, through the forests, chanting japa early in the morning, and the peacocks were all up in the trees, and all these sadhus were walking by. Radhe Shyam, Jai Radhe.
Yeah.
I hear that it's not even there anymore.
Oh, yeah?
The trees have all been cleared, except for maybe a few very special, recognized.
That's too bad.
It's all like condos, and I heard I won't even recognize it. But anyway.
Yeah. That's true. So we have to develop it within. We have to bring it with us wherever we are. So yeah, that's why the whole purpose I was trying to make this Gita app too is people are attracted to reflective things. So let's put it in their screen, man. Let's put the Bhagavad Gita there. And I don't know if anybody wants to see something from that.
Please.
So here's the app. It's like going to look similar to this. It's just the proof here. Not quite up there yet. But here's the book. It shows you where you can highlight. But as you see here, we have a visual table of contents, and you could just scroll with the finger, just drag and swipe, as you can see. So we got more chapters. I added a lot more chapters, appendix. I put in analogies. These are actually Pushkar's analogies that were in the Bhagavad Gita, another Gita that they put together. And Gita Mahatma, Glory of the Gita. We have a Transcendental Art. We have a link to Srila Prabhupada's books, and they could actually give feedback. So on the bottom here, you see the scroll bar with the dots. You can actually go fairly fast across different places, see? And as you can see, in different, and in the table of contents here, you can see there's different sections, like we're in the 10th chapter, so there's 5 sections. And you can just click on any one of these, you can see, you know, like if you want to go to the 4 summary verses of the Bhagavad Gita, just click on that and it'll take you right there. And see, I highlighted that because I wanted to learn that particular verse. So that's one of the verses. Let's see if I highlighted all the 4 verses there, so I can learn them, see? So you can highlight them different colors. And if you want to review them, everything you highlight is actually saved for you in your study section. So if you just tap anywhere on the screen, it opens up the toolbar on top. And you see on the left there, there's like a little square box. Click on that. And here is your summary of your notes. Like for each chapter on the left, it breaks it down. Like I have 7 notes in chapter 7. I have 5 notes in chapter 5. And then you can go to all chapters at once if you want. Just click on that. And then you can go through all the verses that you highlighted. And then on the right, you can see there's the page numbers. If you want to go to that page, you click on that 102, and it'll take you to the page. So also, if you notice on top in the study bar, there's study cards. So you can actually review your notes in the form of cards. So as you're walking, you know, you're going with your iPad or your iPhone, you can just, you know, go through these. You could just scroll through these like this, like your pad. You can scroll either way, one way or the other. So it also keeps your notes. Like here's a verse, and then I put a note there. You can actually put notes right inside the book, and the notes come on the back side of the card, so you can flip. So this is one that I liked because it shows that this is the proof that the soul is eternal. You see. So you can just go on and learn different ones. So
is it available yet?
Almost. It's getting there. We just pretty much the Gita's done. We're just working on an intro video.
Is it an app for an iPhone or?
iPhone, iPad, the iOS operating system right now.
So you're going to put it on in the App Store or the Apple App Store?
Yes, that's where it would be at the App Store.
What's the cost?
We're thinking around maybe $15, $14.99 or $14.95 or something. So Narhari requested that we put the gallery back in there, so we did. So here it is. Let's just click on that. So we got a gallery of the Bhagavad Gita. So it has the thumbnails on the bottom, and it gives a little write-up about each particular, you know, you could just scroll through that.
Why don't you put it up right away and just update it when you finish more things to it, and keep us waiting so long? We can get it right away, and then as updates go out, you just update it.
I guess that's true. You can do that, huh? I could change it. I wanted to add the instructions like I'm doing now with you in the intro video, but I don't know if it's that necessary. We could probably do a link to a website to show them how to use it.
Well, you get the feedback right away too, and then as the updates.
So you could get rid of the thumbnails just by tapping, and then you could scroll. And if you want to zoom in, you could just pinch out, and you could just zoom into the images.
You put it up today.
Excuse me?
You could put it up today. I'm ready.
Okay.
And just update it, you know, next week and next month and whenever.
That's true. I forget about updates.
You know, there's a lot of cool functions that you have in old guys like myself. sometimes don't think as intuitively as the younger geeky kids.
Yeah.
Are you going to make some sort of tutorial that shows you how to use it?
That's what I'm working on now, and that's what the holdup is. Just like now, as I'm explaining it to you, will be a tutorial similar to this, what we're doing now.
Got it. Yeah, a tutorial will be really helpful because there's so many little tricks it does, and I might never find them.
Here's all the different nice analogies that relate to the different verses that Pushkar did, and it has the references on there. So there's a couple hundred of those, I think.
A couple hundred?
Yeah, there's quite a few of these, like 4 different. See on the bottom there's all those dots. Each dot represents all the thumbnails on the bottom. See?
I didn't know anything about this. Is this some book or something that Pushkar did?
I think he did it for the Bhagavad Gita Interactive that they had done. I mean, they're available online everywhere. I put a link to his site just to honor him. And
I've never seen it. He's never mentioned it to us.
Yeah, I don't know. They're like little thumbnails. They're cool. I like them. Talks about the Gauda productions.
Is he with us today? Is he? I haven't looked at who's with us. Is Pushkar on board?
But it's there. And also on each chapter,
he's there. He's muted.
We have a link to Prabhupada's lecture. Like, say, this particular verse, Bhagavad Gita 13.1.2. There's a web link to Prabhupada's lecture, and it'll take you immediately to prabhupadvani.org, and you'll go directly to that particular thing. So you can play it, and you can also read along with it. So you can dive into the deeper understandings of Bhagavad Gita. So I don't know if you can hear the sound. Let's see if you can actually hear the sound. Let me know. It'll probably show in a minute here. Okay, so it takes a while to get started because of this website, I think. So anyway, it'll be playing as we go back. I could just go back to iBooks, and you could still listen to your iPad as you're, listen to the lectures you're going through. So we got that link to Srila Prabhupada, and along as you read, the particular paintings that relate to that particular area are there. Some I added just to make it more interesting. And if you notice in the table of contents, there's a verse, text, and translation. And you can just chant the verse, like every day when you chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it's easier for you then to just have to scroll through the pages. So the verses and the translation is right there. Some people like to chant the verse.
Well, do the whole chapter, or do you do just one verse at a time?
Yeah, you can just chant it as you chant it. But the sound is just for one verse at a time. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you could just go along with it.
From the Vedavyāsa.
Yeah, same one, same thing. So just here, a little more convenient. And then at the end of the chapter, we have some reviews. How is the living entity placed within a particular body? So you just kind of check the answer. The entity has power to choose the next body. There's no incarnation due to associative modes of material nature. None of the above. So let's just try see if that's works. You could check your answer. I got it right. So clear the answer. So you got like 6 questions, and here's like one where you try to match. So since it's a visual, you try to match the images, so get people more interested in focusing. So you could just drag this to the verse. The chapter and the verse numbers to the correct image. So you check the answer. I got it wrong. So you can try again. So you do it once, you could do it the second time. See? So otherwise, you just usually go through all the chapters. Tells you how many got correct. Then we have another question here at the end. You just click on it, and it goes through the answer there. We have a link to Narantra's website, which he's doing a video narration of the particular chapter. It's like a review. It's nice. You chant the verses, and it gives you a few comments here and there. It's nice. There's a wonderful dramatic audio narration by His Holiness Purnachandra Goswami. And here, you can actually enter your notes for this particular chapter. The difference between these notes and the other ones that you highlight is that you can submit these notes to the author. So it's nice. And you can also share them if you want. You can just share them on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. So
you're going to interact with this? You're going to read all those that come in? Who's going to answer the question?
Well, we're going to get assistance from you. So we'll try to do the best we can. We'll see how it goes.
So what's your proposed date of launching?
The next few weeks here. Maybe tomorrow, like you said, but I doubt it. So you pinch and you close the book, but we don't want to pinch it, so. Oh yeah, actually I did it anyway.
So you don't want to do it a pre-launch and then an official launch, and updates and anything? Because this is
we should probably do a pre-launch before it actually, we're going to do a pre-launch, and not everybody's going to, we're not going to really advertise it right away, but I'll put it up there. And then we'll do like a launch. And then
could you send out a link for us so we could do it? I think everybody here would like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. We get more devotees involved, get some more input, and then we can add that maybe on the launch. So we'll have it up there before it's launched.
Did you do this with Presenter?
The screen that I'm sharing with you is Reflector 2. But the program to create this app is an Apple app that you can use. I learned the program and adapted it. I mean, changed it and added stuff. It's very, what could you say? You can, you have ways you can just adapt and change it, whatever you want. It's a program, in other words, that you use to make it. So what else can I show you here? I don't know. You have any questions? So which one?
Well, I was just going to say I think it's a very good idea for you to put it out for devotees to look at, because there'll be things that they'll be able to give you feedback about before you want to do a launch.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We'll keep closing it. But anyway, I think this is a more smoother presentation than I showed you last time. That's why I put this reflector so you can see the different chapters and you can scroll through fast. And we got the Glory of the Gita is very powerful. We got a link to the Transcendental Art that I'm working on the gallery. It's a gallery, so people can go and see the BBT paintings, not just Bhagavad Gita ones. And then we have a link to Srila Prabhupada's books, which are into the website there, or they can order them directly from the BBT. So it's nice. And just some, let me show you some cool things that I did here. You probably saw these already, but let me see if I could find it. So we got every once in a while you see some little nectar hidden here and there. And I think it's here. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. You saw this. I showed this to you before. We have like a nice little morph there within the Gita.
What program did you use to do the morphing?
This was already done by the archives. They just let me use it.
What archives?
BBT archives.
Oh, somebody already did it years ago?
Yeah, this was done years ago. They're old. This
Yeah.
is like all the resources I wanted if I wanted to. So I used the voice and I used some of these things.
All right.
So here we go. Traveling through, man. There's a lot of images we use for the changing bodies, which are nice. It's really nice. You could just meditate on these images, and I don't know if you want to meditate on born, birth, and death, but you can just zoom in and focus. You could change the picture, meditate as you chant. It's very nice. And there's also something here I'll show you. The last part. There's in the appendix. We have Gita resources that showed you important verses. So we have a link to over 108 verses that you can go to kind of get people, more involved. They can click on 925.
Morning. So, Ratha in Sanskrit means cart festival. It's a Martin Luther King festival.
So, anyway, this will give people an idea so they can come and highlight the verses and say them so they can memorize them. And then there's one of there's a nice thing. You guys heard of Shabda Haridas? He did a nice just chanting,
reciting 140 most important verses from the Bhagavad Gita for memorization, dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kutasya Kashmanam Nidam Vishami Samupastitam Anarujushtamasvargyam Akiti Karanarjuna Karpanya Dosho Bhatasvava.
Anyway, gives you an idea. It's nice. Sometimes you just want to hear the verses and hearing them, you're doing something. You can just put it on and you can listen. So, and then we have a little sketchbook here actually too I put in there for kids because we don't have different ages. So encouraging people to draw their own analogies. So you could come in here. It's a very basic sketch pad. You could come in and choose your different colors and you could just draw something. You could change the size of the pen. You got an eraser, you got the trash, you got some undos. So you could do that. It's just very simple. We're having some fun doing different drawings. I did a whole scene, of nature on there, so it's kind of cool. Anyway, just something to play around with. Interactive, right? So, yeah, basically that's it. Probably forgetting something, but we got the whole 18th. If you see here, you could scroll through all these different chapters, and you could read about the glories of the Bhagavad Gita, each chapter, the potency of each chapter. And here's where Prabhupada quotes in the beginning of in the introduction, talks about, we should have, one scripture, one song, one worshipful Lord, Kṛṣṇa, one holy name, one service, devotional service. So these are there. And then there's another one which is much more many verses, talks about the glory of the Gita and the importance of reading it every day. You see, it's very amazing. How we purify the heart, you see. So a person who knows nothing but about the learning and teaching of the Gita is a failure in duty of the human form of life. So just to kind of encourage people and inspire us to read, to go there and do that. So, Jai. So any other questions, comments related to anything? And in the video, I showed you guys before, but I'm working on it again. Where Prabhupada comes in there. It's going to be a little different than this, I think. Because when I export it, in the program I made it, I made it in a presenter one, Keynote. When you export it, it doesn't keep the voice gets messed up, lining up with the pictures and stuff. So it's not a professional one. So I'm doing it again in Premiere Pro. So hopefully we can get things more precise. So that's what I'm working on now, is a video. So we have different videos in here also. There's a video of Prabhupada in the beginning also. Prabhupada's talking about the
beginning
to understanding Bhagavad Gita.
Kṛṣṇa says that I have selected you as my student because you are my friend and you are my devotee.
So it goes on, but anyway, there's another video I put in here. Show you all the little nectar spots here. What did I do with it? Oh, it's Srila Prabhupada, the author. I put my favorite picture there. And you could listen to this lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. I just cut out some sections that Prabhupada talks about this.
Material world is not required by me, are you?
And if you want to follow along, you just click on the picture.
No business.
And you can just follow along with the
Just like we are
So,
living entities of the land.
so then they could just read it. So different things like that throughout. We got a whole gallery of Srila Prabhupada also, showing Prabhupada's pastimes. Okay, enough. So this is something to help people get absorbed.
Thank you, Gauda Prabhu.
Thank you for your patience. Sorry to go over time. But,
Yeah, I'd highly encourage you to share that with a few of us so that we could give you some critiques that would probably help you before your launch.
Okay, that's a great idea. I will do that, definitely. I will share it maybe somehow on your website or something, or just share it with you. You know how to put it on there.
We could talk about it.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Bruce Prabhupada.
Thank you so much. Haribol.
Haribo.